Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I thought I'd go ahead and try and get through something that's been kind of on my mind for a while. Two phrases, and they really do kind of encompass a lot of what's going on in the world right now as far as debates between people, and definitely on the left as far as denying the right to speak or, denying any kind of oppositional speech to what somebody's saying. And the first phrase is, there it is. You'll never understand. Now, if you look at the images, there's a lot of inspirational images, and these are not valid images, right? But unfortunately, everyone looks at these. They put them on their Twitter feeds, they put them on their Facebook, pages. They read these and they think of them as truth. For instance, you'll never understand how much I truly cared. No matter what, you'll never understand someone's pain until you're the one feeling it. You'll never understand until it happens to you. These are all things that are very common, and it's one of those things that gets used a lot to be it sort of shuts down the entire conversation. For instance, if you have any opinion on, say, a racial topic, any racial topic at all, the person that is the race in question in the topic can simply say, well, you'll never understand because you're not that race. Or if it's a gender topic, they can go, well, you'll never understand because you're not that gender. And if you're actually attacking or criticizing, not attacking, but criticizing somebody, it works for attacking too, but that's kind of the problem. It's sort of practical. If you're criticizing somebody who is of that gender, they can say, you'll never understand my pain because you're not me. They can break it down all into smaller and smaller pieces, Even if you're a woman and they're a woman, they can be like, well, you're not a white woman. Even if you're both white women, you'd be like, well, you're not you don't identify as a binary, queer, gender fluid, whatever. They can make up whatever they want to say that they're different from you. Well, really what they're doing is they're dodging the criticism, they're dodging the connection that you're trying to make with them. Now, there is a difference between criticizing somebody and attacking them outright. But I thought this one right here was all right. Saying you'll never understand unless you've experienced it does more to explain our own limited abilities in expressing ourselves than it does to explain the limited understanding or comprehension of our audience. So if somebody says to you, you'll never understand, what they're really saying is, I can't explain it to you. And the reason they say you'll never understand is because they will never, ever admit that they are, in fact, incapable of making you understand. Which isn't really true. I think everybody's pretty much capable of having other people, if they're willing to try, to come to an understanding. You see this a lot with, Eddie Izzard's probably one of the best. Yeah, Eddie Izzard's probably one of the best, examples of this. I'll go ahead and show you who he is if you don't know who he is already. This is the guy. He's a comedian. He's a really good comedian. He cross-dresses a lot for his shtick is cross-dressing. He kind of likes to do that. But the thing about him is, if you ever watch any of his stand-up, he's an incredibly funny guy. Not all of his stuff's funny. Some of it's kind of, meh. But he's pretty funny. The thing is, in his real life, though, he's an incredibly depressing person. Very emotional. Very, very full of hurt, and actual human experience. I'm not saying he's always depressed or that he's going through troubles, but if you watch some of the documentary, I think there is a documentary. Let's see. Documentary. I can spell, I really can. Let's go to all so we don't look at his pictures. Yeah, Believe, there it is. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's called Believe. And I watched a bit of this, and as it turns out, yeah, he's gone through some stuff, and he has some emotional issues, because he just has to deal with that kind of stuff. And the way he deals with it, and the way I believe many comedians deal with it, is by getting out on stage and trying to explain it through humor, They take something, and then they try to make the audience understand, and you can see it, too, when you actually have an audience and a comedian that knows what they're doing up on stage, you can see it. They'll basically go, have you ever had this happen to you? And the audience will, obviously, they won't answer, but inside their heads are going, no. And they go, well, let me explain. And then they'll go through the whole thing. And then at the end, you'll have the audience laughing or bawling their eyes out, and, their sides will be hurt and all that stuff. And that's what good comedians do. They either connect with you, through something that you are already going to be able to connect to the audience without any kind of explanation, or they make the story of explaining it hilarious. That's really what it is. That's what comedy is. They're showing you how ridiculous everything is, but they're doing that by connecting with you. Now, not all comedians do that. I mean, that's not how everybody does it. They all have their own way of doing things. But I think that's how a lot of them do it. And I think a lot of them do it because a lot of them have, problems in their lives or pain they have to deal with, or just having to get through life itself. That's what comedy is. That's what being a comedian is trying to get through life, And so I think that the phrase here, this dumb phrase that you'll never understand, and then add whatever else you want after it, I think that's one of the first things that really shuts down all conversation. Like, you'll never understand how much you mean to me. Well, then explain it. You will never understand. Please explain it. No, I mean, really, explain it. If I say something stupid like, I don't know, I can't think of anything that's not immediately awful to say about another race, about my own race, or by somebody's gender. Just something that's just immediately going to make me seem like an asshole. But imagine if I said something along the lines of, why is it you like mayonnaise? Why do you like mayonnaise? Why do you like it? It's stupid. It's disgusting. And then as a white person, somebody responded, well, you'll never understand because you're not white. It's like, no, listen, man, you can explain it. You really can. It's just mayonnaise. And it's an innocuous example. And thank goodness it's not controversial. Okay. That's why I'm using it. You can just say, listen, have you ever had different types of mayonnaise before? Of course not. You don't like it. That's fine. But not everybody who's white does. I mean, you know that. You've got to know that. I know plenty of people that just straight up hate the stuff, no matter what it's on. And I also know that there are people who are smart enough to know that there are different types of mayonnaise. For instance, there's that Miracle Whip stuff, which tastes awful. It's basically engine grease. And then you've got just regular old mayonnaise. It doesn't matter what kind of brand it is for the most part, though. Some taste really bad, some don't. It's just flavored lard. You put it on things so it's not, dry. That's it. And sometimes it tastes shitty, sometimes it tastes good. It depends on the person. But saying you'll never understand because you're not white just automatically says, well, I don't know how to explain to you that there's different types of mayonnaise and that different people have different, taste buds. Which is actually really easy to explain. So if it's something that's really hard to explain, some kind of pain that you're just not really sure how to deal with, and you're just not sure how to explain it to the other person, my personal opinion is you have to ask the question, like, what do you need to know to understand it? What are you asking of me to try to get it through your head? And the thing is, I think people use this term here as sort of a protection for themselves. Basically say it because they want that pain to mean something. They want that separation from the rest of the world to mean something. And, that's the first phrase. And the second phrase is oh God, what is the second phrase? Educate yourself. Irony. Educate yourself. Educate yourself. Step 1, educate yourself. Another dismissal. This is another one that's used on the left a whole lot, and it's used on the left a lot because it basically allows you to just close your mind. It allows them to close their mind. So this is ironic. If your mind is so closed, why is your mouth so open? That is incredibly ironic, considering that it's on Pinterest, and considering that it came up when I actually went ahead and put the phrase in, educate yourself. This is another one of those ones where you say it because you yourself don't know how to educate the person you're talking to. Essentially, you'll never understand and educate yourself are the same inherent phrase. They're different words, but they mean the same thing. They mean, I don't understand, and I can't tell you how to understand. I can't connect with you on any level, and it's my own problem, but I'm putting it on you. That's what they're doing. It's there's also another quote. There's something from let's see. It is Einstein. Oh my God, I can't spell Einstein. There's an explain it simply quote. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. I love that quote from Albert Einstein. I always kind of get it jumbled up in my head, so I have to reread it, but this is an amazing quote because this is definitely very true. This is one of the smartest people to have ever lived. And he's saying, seriously, if you have all this vast knowledge, all this amazing understanding of the universe or your own personal, belief system or whatever, if you have all this amazing personal experience up in your head, and you can't explain it simply, then you don't actually understand it well enough. Because the real point, I think, of understanding is actually to share that knowledge with other people. I do think that's part of it. And if you can't share it with other people, then it's a waste. Then your personal experience means nothing. If you can't connect with another person or can't connect with anybody, then your personal experience is very limited. And that's not to say that people who are bad at social, basically being social with other people are pointless. It's not that at all, because you'll be surprised at how often people will understand you, even when you didn't mean them to understand you. That's just how humans are. They get information exchanged really well. That's what we're good at. We're really good at information exchange, which is why we have huge institutions in place all over the place to limit information exchange, because when we exchange information too quickly, things become very chaotic, and then people that are in power, they lose power, they like power. It's not always the same people, by the way. It changes all the time. It's just, if you can't explain it simply, it means you don't understand, and that means that you don't really have the power to be an authority on anything. So when you say you can never understand, it really means I don't know what I'm talking about, and I really shouldn't be trusted. If you say, go educate yourself, it's not my responsibility to educate you, you're really saying, I really don't understand what I'm saying, and I really can't be trusted. So the reason I'm making this video, I think, is mostly because I see these phrases come up a lot, and I think the only way to solve or kind of combat this type of mindset is really just to kind of go through and have a conversation with the person that's actually saying these things. I'm kind of an asshole online. That's because I don't really pull very many punches. I try not to call people idiots too much, but it comes out anyway. But this right here is one of the things I think that really should be taken to heart by everyone. You really ought to be able to explain yourself. And if you can't explain yourself, you ought to really look at what you're thinking and what you're believing a little bit deeper. Because if you can't explain it simply, then you don't understand it. And so maybe you shouldn't be, spouting your opinion as if it matters, and trying to sway other people to your side of things. Well, anyway, guys, that is my short little video. It's 12-13 minutes long at this point. Just kind of going over those two phrases and this one, which I think kind of counters it. If anybody ever says you don't understand, you never understand, or educate yourself, you just say, if you can't explain it simply, then you obviously don't understand it well enough. Anyway, see you guys.